Boom! So we've been talking about the Industrial Revolution the last several days, and I want to finish off that discussion about what it is that makes America become an industrialized society after the Civil War by taking a look just a little bit more at this issue of what makes our businesses run. You know, we talked about all kinds of things the last several days, whether it was the rise of big business or railroads or inventions and raw materials and laissez-faire. And today, I spent a little bit more time talking about the need for unions. Because what you're seeing here with the need for unions is going to be a greater discussion about the workforce. Now that's going back to lesson 1 where we said you need a large workforce in all of these factories and all of these big businesses that are growing up thanks to horizontal integration and selling stocks and vertical integration. So when you have all of these new workers, you're going to have to talk and think more about what their lives are like. What is it that they're going through? So when we discuss workers in this second industrial revolution, this gilded age, what we need to think of is their living conditions in general. Here are 4 things to see. Number 1, prices are going to fall. They're going to drop because we saw all of those factory workers producing so many goods that the prices can fall. And we called that, if you remember, an economy of scale. And we said when you do that, you can produce more for less cost and charge less and sell more. But that means that prices will fall. And we go back to that chart, right? You can make more, costs less, so you can lower the price. If you could buy more for less, a company's not going to want to pay you the same. They're going to want to cut your wages. Think about it like this. If, I don't know, Kraft mac and cheese, right? If Kraft mac and cheese costs me $1 right now, but lots of things happen, right? I don't know, maybe Kraft sells a lot of stock, it invests, it invents new technology, gets a really big workforce, maybe they practice some horizontal integration and buy up all of the other mac and cheese companies out there, and so the whole world is filled with Kraft mac and cheese. Then the price, well, the price might actually fall. Maybe the price for that mac and cheese now is just going to be 50 cents. Well, my pay hasn't changed. The price of goods have changed. Instead of being able to buy 1 box of mac and cheese, now I can buy 2. But there's no need for me to pay you so much money as a factory worker, right? Or to earn so much money as a factory worker. If I cut wages from $1 down to 50 cents, well then, now all of a sudden, you can still buy just 1 box of mac and cheese like you used to be able to do. Look, this makes people angry. Of course it should make people angry because they were making money and they were working really hard, and just when they're thinking they're getting ahead because the prices of goods are dropping, their companies come along and slash their wages. Well, that's going to make people unhappy. So what you're going to see here is workers pushing for a new kind of organization, and that's what you need to know. A union is an organization, and their goal is to help workers. And they're going to see them tackle and go after a whole bunch of different kinds of things. Whether that's the fact that so many people in companies were suffering with unhealthy living conditions and unhealthy working conditions. Like, hello, look at these kids. Their feet are freaking like barefoot. Whether it's dull and repetitive work, that doing the same work for 8 hours a day, or the fact that there are no safety precautions in place at all for these people working in these factories, we're going to see people turn to unions as a solution. They're going to say, we need a way out of this. What's the solution to make us earn more money so that we're able to get better pay? What's that solution going to be? So, let's investigate. The solution is going to be unions. And unions are an organization of workers in an industry. And these workers in an industry, these unions, they join together and they negotiate with business. And their whole goal is to try and make sure that businesses treat them better as workers. So whether that's giving us better pay or all those things we mentioned on the last slide, workers are going to fight for these things. And let's be honest, folks, all those things you saw on the last slide, those things like better pay, better working conditions, and so on, that all costs money, man. And the more money you put into your workers, the less money there is in profit. So you're going to end up with workers almost in their unions going against businesses. So I know I use the word negotiate here, which is kind of like when you work together to figure out a solution. What we're really talking about here isn't just necessarily negotiating. What we're really talking about here is conflict. And how do we deal with that conflict between workers that want all of these good things and employers who don't want to spend the money to give it to them? One of the few weapons that workers will have, and that we will talk about time and again, is the strike. And I want to introduce it here, and we'll come back to it at a later date. But just know that one of the things workers can do is just simply stop working. And it's what I see students do all the time. I've seen students who are like, I don't want to be in this class, man. I need to get out of here. I don't want to do what he's saying. And so those students, when we say little things like, okay, now do this or do that, or put away your pencil, or get out your Chromebook, or whatever, the student just doesn't do it. And then we go over and we say, hello there, student. I notice you're not doing this. Is everything okay? And the kid's just like, not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Well, that's a strike. That kid has stopped their production in an attempt to manipulate me into doing something, you know, maybe to throwing him out of the class or throwing her into ISS. I don't know. I don't know what the kid's actually manipulating me for, but it's definitely an attempt at manipulating. So I can respond, right? Maybe I use a lockout. I can say, you know what? You don't want to do the work? Well, then you don't get the credit. I'm not going to pay you. I'm not going to reward you with the credit. I'm going to have someone come in here, you know, in this class and wants to be here. I'm going to hire a replacement. Essentially, what you have here are workers that want a whole bunch of demands, like you saw on the last slide, and workers who don't, who feel like they deserve it, but business owners who don't feel that workers have the right to demand these things, that workers don't have the authority to demand these things.